session on how we can build predictive machine learning model with IBM Modeler Flow. My name is Khair Faraj. I'm a developer advocate based in UAE. With me, I have my colleagues Mridul, who is a developer advocate, and Spesiso as well. Mridul is with me in UAE, and Spesiso is in South Africa. If you want to know a bit about me, I've been working for IBM for 2 years now as a developer advocate. I mainly focus on data and AI services. Other than that, I'm a big fan of cinemas and movies. I binge watch a lot of series, so feel free to share any of interesting series that you're watching these days if you want. Other than that, I want Mridul and Spesiso to introduce themselves. So please, guys, if you want to say hello to our beautiful audience.
Sure. Thank you, Khalil. Hi, everyone. My name is Mridul Bhandari, and I'm based in Dubai, as Khalil mentioned. I've also been working with IBM since 2 years, and my focus is on data and AI mainly. And my hobbies are mainly cycling, swimming, and playing sports like badminton, football. It's just that. And yeah, if you have any new sports to try out, I'd love to try out new sports. So please share your recommendations in the chat.
Thank you, Mridul. Spesiso, would you love to introduce yourself, please?
Okay, yes, definitely. Thank you for that. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Busiso Mkombe. I'm a developer advocate from South Africa. As my colleagues, I also like to play sports. I play soccer on a daily basis. I play a bit of video games, and I like to watch series as well in my free time. Thank you.
Thank you, Spesiso. So yes, to get started, please make sure to click on the link ibm.biz/SPSS mode to register. So my colleagues will be sharing the link on the chat. And basically, this is just to create your account. If you already have an IBM account, you don't need to create a new one. You can just use the existing one. If you don't have one, then you will have a 30 days trial to create your account. And after 30 days, you will be asked to enter your credit card information, and you will receive 200 credits, cloud credits, basically, to use them on the services. But for now, you can just go ahead and you can enjoy a 30 days free and have access to all the light services. And of course, we have our survey. You can scan it. We have the link as well that will be shared at any time. If you want to leave, we really appreciate if you can just fill the survey so we can keep improving our experience for all the audience whenever we are doing the workshops. And before starting, we're just going to make a quick kind of small tutorial on Crowdcast, the platform where we are hosting this event. Basically, on the top, we have our name of the event. You can please click on the follow button to keep up with all of the updates that we are doing about all of our upcoming events. If you have anything that you want to say, you can simply just click on this chat kind of a free text field and share wherever you want. And you can as well ask a question on the Q&A element right here. And you will see below the screen the Get Started Here button. This is basically the button that will direct you to the repo or all the services, kind of the content and the material that you'll be using with all the registration links and the hands-on session that you'll be doing as well. So having said that, we can go ahead and get started with our session. And basically, this is our agenda. First of all, we're going to start by talking a bit about AI and machine learning to compare them. And then we're going to move to describe more about the machine learning process, talk about the different type of machine learning that we have. And then we're going to discuss more about the main challenges that we are facing these days, especially when it comes from a developer perspective. And then we're going to move to talk about the SPSS Modeler as a solution to all of these challenges. What is SPSS? Why we should go with SPSS? And we're going to talk about a concept called nodes. This is like the main element that we use in SPSS Modeler. You're going to see this later on. And then we're going to briefly talk about a client use case. So the thing here is with SPSS Modeler, we can use it in any kind of industries. So in the workshop, you will see that we'll be using this in the finance industry. But in the client use case, it will be more focusing on the automotive industry. And of course, we can use this tool to any other services, or any other industry that you want. So that's a great thing about it. And after that, we're going to jump to the hands-on to really show you how SPSS Modeler works. So AI and machine learning, I'm sure a lot of you have heard these words. Many of us confused between these words, don't really know how to differentiate between them. So this slide is just to make you kind of, to really clarify the difference between these three terms, AI, machine learning, and even deep learning. So basically AI is just making of intelligent machines by enabling them to copy and mimic human behaviors. So it's like you always find AI on the top of the structure of these three terms. Below the AI, we have the machine learning, which is a subset of AI that uses statistics and mathematics to enable these machines to improve the experience. So it's kind of like the machine learning is this technology that empowers the AI system that you want to build. And deep learning is a specific, very specific subset or a very specific field inside the machine learning that enables computers to solve much more complex problems. Now, these days, we can see deep learning being used in all kinds of different industries. We're not going to cover it today. It has its own scope. It's not in today's scope, but we just wanted to put it there so you can see how it relates to AI and machine learning. So to make it as easy as it can, we have AI, then machine learning, then deep learning. And machine learning is what it empowers the AI systems. When we talk about machine learning, we always talk about its process because it has a long, infinite process. So in machine learning, we have 4 different main phases. The first one is about defining the problem and the solution. And that's very important because before going into actually building the algorithm or the machine learning solution that we want, we need to make sure that we understand the business. We have kind of a defined scope, a defined minimum viable product, so we can understand what we're trying to achieve. And once we have this defined, we can then move to the second phase, which is where we're going to develop and prototype the model. This is called the prototyping phase. And here we start by getting the data, and then go ahead and prepare the data, train the models, and then evaluate the models. Once the prototype is ready, we can go to the production phase, where we are going to production the models that we have created with our prototype. And then we're going to deploy the model and start making predictions. But once we start making the predictions, this is where we jump to the measurement phase. And here, basically, we're going to monitor these predictions that we are doing to be able to gather and analyze insights. So we want to see and understand the accuracy of these models. Are they doing the right thing? Do they have a good level of prediction, a good level of accuracy? Because it's always important to keep maintaining this accuracy, to keep improve on top of it. So that's why the process is an endless loop. Like we can see here, it's always kind of, an infinite endless loop, because we always need to make sure that it's sustainable and we need to maintain it. So this is how it works. And of course, when we talk about the ML, we have 3 different machine learning types: supervised, unsupervised, and the reinforcement learning. So let's start with the basic one, which is a supervised. This is the most common, kind of the easiest type that we have, basically because we are training the data with the data we're training is already labeled. So to give you a very quick example, let's take the example of animals. Who doesn't like animals? Let's say we want to build a machine learning model that can understand or differentiate between cats and dogs, right? So if I'm feeding this data to my algorithm, whenever I'm feeding it the cat images, I'm going to add or label this image as a cat. So this image contains a cat, and I will do the same thing with the dog image. So whenever I'm add a dog image, I'm going to label it as dog. So here, basically what will happen is this algorithm is going to understand that, okay, this image has a dog and this image has a cat, because I am telling the algorithm what the content is of all these 2 different images. And with that, the algorithm is going to start understanding how or what a dog looks like and what a cat looks like. And this is what we mean by supervised learning. So we are labeling the data that we are using to train our algorithms. And usually in the supervised learning, we see 2 main type of algorithms: the classification and regression. Regression, we usually see it in insights, process optimization, forecasting, and predictions. And classification, we see it in fraud detection, image classification, just like the example I was, the cat and dog one, customer retention, and diagnostics. And basically, the classification is what we'll be doing today in the workshop with Mridul. And this is basically just a graph to show you how from a mathematical perspective, how it looks like. If you want to go back to the example of cats and dogs, let's say these green dots are the dog and the blue dots are the cats. We can see that when the classification, once this data is starting to be processed, we can see that they are kind of grouped into 2 different areas. So all the green dots are on the left and the blue dots are, most of them, on the right. So this is how now the machine learning is going to start to understand or differentiate between the cat and the dog. The second type is the unsupervised learning. In this case, the unsupervised, we are going to feed the data, but without telling it any information. So instead, it relies on a lot of patterns and try to deduct patterns from the data set that we have. And we see this a lot in clustering and dimension reduction. To give you an example on that, let's take the use case of recommendation system. I'm sure most of you here maybe have used Netflix to watch series. So let's say I'm this person who watches only horror movies on weekends. So what's going to happen with unsupervised learning algorithm is that this algorithm is going to understand that, okay, Khalil is now watching, because it's weekend, he's watching a horror movie. So now the next time, like the next week when I'm on the second weekend, is going to see that, all right, since Khalil the last time watched horror movies on weekends, let me recommend him some horror movies on this weekend as well, on this Saturday maybe. So this is how it works. So by understanding the patterns of my behaviors, is going to determine these patterns and try to use them in this case for recommendation system to start recommending movies that I might watch during this specific time. In my case, the time is kind of the weekend. We use this in different as well other use cases like target marketing, customer segmentation, structured discovery, and many, many more. And last but not least, we have the reinforcement learning, and this is basically we use this a lot when it comes to gaming and robots, for example, like game AI, real-time decisions, robot navigation. And the way it works is by having an agent, an environment, and actions, specific actions. So in the reinforcement learning, we are telling the algorithm or kind of the AI machine that we want to build, we are letting him to know what to do based on a system of points. So let's take the following example. Let's say we have a robot that is inside a room, and I want this robot to move 2 steps forward, okay? So let's say the robot moved backward instead of moving forward. Now, in this case, the robot did something wrong. He did the wrong action because I told him that I want him to move forward, but instead he moved backward. So what I will do is I'm going to deduct points from him. I'm going to give him some -20, let's say. So now the robot understood that this is something that cost him some points, so he is not going to repeat this movement the next time. Now let's say the next time he moved forward and he did the right move because I wanted him to move forward. So in this case, I'm going to give him +20. He got rewarded a point, so now he understands that this is the right move to do because I just gave him some points, a bonus. And using this concept of points, of this rewarding system, the AI system is going to be able to understand what to do and what not to do. So that's why we use this a lot in gaming and robot navigations. So this sums up like the 3 main different machine learning types that we have. And with that, we can jump to our next idea, which is the main challenges that we're facing. So today we have a high demand for data scientists and for machine learning engineers. But the big problem is that we lack of skills to meet this demand. And even if we do have these people that have these skills, but using traditional machine learning techniques are very time consuming and they require a lot of effort. And what do I mean by that? So if you deep dive a bit into the issues of traditional machine learning, the first one is the data preparation. You see, it takes a lot of time to prepare the data, to try to find the right source of data, to collect them, to clean it up, because you want to make sure that you have a good amount of data that's not biased. So all of this data preparation and kind of to clean everything on top of it can take a lot of time. And then after we clean data, we need to choose the right algorithm for our use case. And as well, this can take a lot of time because we have a lot of algorithms that we can use. So we need to test different algorithms to see which one is giving better results, which one is giving better accuracy. So this is, again, very time consuming. And let's say we have our perfect model. We need to deploy it somewhere to keep it running. And this is when it comes another challenge, which is the resources. With machine learning models, we're working with a huge amount of data. And whenever we have this huge amount of data, it's hard to have a good resources that can run and process this amount of data, right? So that's why it's kind of difficult to deploy this model somewhere. Like if you want to deploy it on your machine, you need to have a beast that can run and process all of this data. So in this case, an optimal solution would be, for example, the cloud, because on the cloud, you don't need to be responsible for a huge, big chunk of hardware that can run these. Everything is running on the cloud, so this can, make things much more easier. So that's why I'm going to give it to Spiciso to explain how IBM SPSS Modeler can come as a solution. So Spiciso, I'll be stop sharing my screen, and you can share yours. And the floor is all yours to explore more about SPSS Modeler and tell us more how it can be a solution.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Khalil. Just give me a moment to share my screen. Okay, just quick confirmation before I get started. Are you able to see my screen clearly?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So good afternoon once more, everyone. What I will be doing is I will just be proceeding here and talking about the IBM SPSS Modeler. So just a quick note before we get started, right? The SPSS Modeler is not the same as the SPSS Statistics. So those are two different services. So please just take note of that. So what we want to do here is we want to have a data science and machine learning solution, and that is what the SPSS Modeler is, and that is what it does for us. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Yeah. So what it then is, it is essentially a data mining and text analytic tool from IBM that allows us sort of build predictive models and integrate them into our system. So essentially what it does is it is designed to help enterprises accelerate time to value by speeding up operation tasks in which data scientists would have had to manually perform. Okay, so just moving on from here, why would you want to use the SPSS modeler? So first and foremost, no programming is required, so that's a plus for us. Then also it automates our tedious tasks, so everything that you would have been doing manually, and these would have been time consuming as well when you take traditional machine learning approaches. And it also has an easy-to-use visual interface, which features a drag-and-drop feature to build, evaluate, test, and deploy a machine learning model. And this allows us to also boost productivity. And just as a quick add-on here, it also supports a hybrid cloud approach. So whether you're building it on on-prem, in the public or private cloud, it is supported fully. Then just to proceed from here, I just want to talk about our node palettes next. So our SPSS modeler has 8 main nodes, which we can use to build our flow. So the first one is the import node. So this is where our data sources are incorporated, things like your data assets, your user inputs, or your simulated data as well. We then have our record ops, where we are allowed to perform operations on data records that we have just sort of imported. So this would include things like your data merge, your aggregate, etc. We then have next something called our field ops, which essentially allows us to perform operations in the data fields. So things like your filtering, your managing values, essentially all that you do in a machine learning model. Then next we have something called modeling. Okay, so this is where we define the model builders. So essentially our machine learning algorithms. Then we move on to text analytics, where we perform text mining operations. Essentially, this is what the SPSS modeler also allows us to do. Then our graph would be next. This is where our data visualization is performed with things called chart builders for a more visual aspect of our data. Then we then have something called an output, which is essentially the result that we receive or get from our model. Then lastly, we have an export, which is the last part. This is where we are able to now take the results that we have received and export them so that they can be viewed in external apps as well. So this here is just a quick summary or an overview of our SPSS modeler and its 8 main nodes that can be used. Okay, then what I want to talk next about here is our client use case. So essentially we have the Volvo Group here, and their use case was essentially optimizing logistics and preventing failure to achieve better processes with predictive maintenance. Okay, so essentially the problem is that their current processes were error prone. Their manual processes would lead to equipment failure. They would have duplicate processes and operational waste, which became too common. Their business continuity and security concerns were not being met, right? So a solution to this here would essentially be us predicting the potential maintenance issue and or optimizing the routes that have never been explored before, and this is easier to be done using the SPSS modeler thanks to its visual drag and drop tool and functionality. Okay, so I think then what we want to do in today's workshop essentially, and this is where I will hand over to Mridu, we want to build a predictive machine learning model that decides whether a bank a customer can apply for a loan. So essentially, it evaluates whether it is safe or not to give this customer a loan. And we will be using two key technologies to accomplish this. The first one being the IBM Watson Studio, then the second one being the IBM SPSS Modeler tool, essentially. So I think, this is where we'll hand over to Mridu. We will paste these links in the chat section so that you guys can follow along accordingly.
Thank you, Subhisiso. So I'll just start by sharing my screen. Just give me a second. Yeah, I hope you can all see my screen now. Khalil, Subhisiso, let me know if there are issues, if you cannot see my screen.
Yeah, we can see your screen perfectly fine, Riddle.
All right, thank you so much. So, hi everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I hope you're all safe and doing well. So, I'll be taking you over through the hands-on session, and our usage is going to be regarding an credit risk prediction model. And for that, I would require you all to, sign up for an IBM Cloud account. So the link is ibm.biz/SPSS mod. So you can go to this link and you can sign up. So once you go to this link, the sign up link should appear. So I'll just open and show it to you. So yeah, so sign up for IBM Cloud page opens up. So you have, if you use this link, you get you get an IBM Cloud account trial account free for 30 days. So try to use this link. Otherwise, you'll have to pay for it. So this is a specialized link we have created for you. So please sign up using this link. So you can enter your email address, your password. You can just verify email, and you can click on continue, and you should be able to create your own IBM Cloud account. So the process is very simple. I'll just repeat it again. You need to enter your email address. You need to create a password. You need to verify email. So you just need to agree to terms and conditions and click on continue, and you should be good to go, and your IBM Cloud account should be ready. So till the time you're all creating your IBM Cloud account, I'll actually I'll go through the data set we have for today. So we have a German credit risk data set. So this data set it has a lot of categories. So I'll just go through it. It's a data set from UCI machine learning repository, and it has quite a few attributes, and I'll explain those attributes. So this is the source. So if you're interested, you can go ahead and you can check it out. It's on the UCI machine learning repository, and it's a German credit data set. So this data set has it contains age, gender, job, housing, savings account, checking account, and the credit amount, the duration, and the purpose. So and then you have these options. The rows are filled in with these values. So age is numeric, then gender is male or female, then it's numeric 0. So this is job is either whether it's unskilled or a non-resident, unskilled and resident, skilled and highly skilled. Then housing, whether own, rent or free, and then savings account, little, moderate, and we have these options over here. So this data set is available on the UCI machine learning repository, and which is what we'll be working today with. You can access the data set in the repository we have created for you. So the link for the repository is ibm.biz/SPSS mod lab. So this is the link, and Khalid and Subhisiso will share it in the chat. So you can go ahead and you can access the repository. So I'll repeat the link once again. It is ibm.biz/SPSS mod lab. So you can also go and you can access it like this: ibm.biz/SPSS mod lab. So yeah, so once you are over here, you can actually download the repository. So you can click on this green button here. So if you're familiar with terminal, you can install it using that, or you can use GitHub desktop, or the simplest method is to download a zip and then unzip the folder. That way you can access the files. So once you're done with that, you'll be able to access, you can see the contents of the folder. It has everything we require for today's workshop, all the resources are available in this repository. So you can go ahead and access it over here. So by now, I hope you have all created your IBM Cloud account. And once you create your account, you should come to this page. So it's a dashboard where all the resources are available. So you can access all the resources. You can scroll down. You can see the resource summary. You can see the maintenance, support cases, news, the cloud status. Then you have some resources over here you can access. There are some tutorials on some other services. You can go ahead and you can access that. And then you can go to catalog and you can check out the various services that are available. So you can see all the various services that are available over here. And you can access those services. You can read more about those services. So the service we're going to be using today, first we're going to create is a Watson Studio service. So I'll just show you, first I'll show you how to create, then I'll explain what is Watson Studio. You can just search for Watson Studio over here and you can click on the first option, or you could also search it over here, search resources. And once you click on that, you come to this page. I'll just wait for it to load. Give me a few seconds. Yeah. So over here, you can select the location and you can select the plan. You can change the name of the service. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the location. Location is Dallas. And we're going to select the pricing plan as light because that is sufficient for our hands-on session today. We do not require any paid service. Light plan is sufficient for our hands-on session today. And you could change the name of your service. So it could be anything. It could be, SPSS. That's what you're working with. So we can just give it a name SPSS. And once you're done, on the side, you can see the location, the plan, the name of the service, the resource group, and the summary basically. And you can click on I've read the terms and conditions, and you can click on create. So if you have an existing light plan instance already, so you'll not be able to create one more. So you just have to either delete that service or you can use the existing service. That is your choice, whichever you prefer to go with. You can go ahead with that. And as I've already created a service, I cannot create one. So you need to be careful. So I'll just go ahead and access my existing service. So for people who haven't created this service before, they can create it, click on create. And for those of you who have already created a service, so this is the way you can access your existing Watson Studio service. So on the left-hand side top corner, you can see the navigation menu. And you click on that. And once that menu opens up, you can click on resource list. So once you go to the resource list, you can see the services that you've created available over here. So I have a service available over here. I'm going to click on that service. So this is how you access your existing service. And now for everyone who has an existing service or who has created a new Watson Studio service, you come to this page. Over here, you can read about the documentation about Watson Studio. You can check out some sample projects, notebooks, and datasets, and you'll be able to access this. So I hope you have all created your Watson Studio service. And if you're creating, I'll just wait for a few seconds and I'll use this time to explain what is Watson Studio. So Watson Studio basically has all your data and AI services in one place. It empowers data scientists, developers, and analysts to build, run, and manage AI models and optimize decisions anywhere on IBM Cloud Pak for data. And it helps you, to unite teams, automate AI lifecycles, and speed time to value on an open multi-cloud architecture. So it also helps you bring together open source frameworks like PyTorch and TensorFlow, scikit-learn with IBM and its ecosystem for code-based and visual data science projects. So you can work with Jupyter Notebooks, Jupyter Lab, CLIs, or in any languages such as Python, R, and Scala. So it has a lot of options available, and we'll see some of the features now. So by now, I hope you have all created your Watson Studio service, and you're on this page. So you can go ahead and you can click on Get Started, and we'll wait for the page to load. So I'll just give it a few seconds, and I'll wait for you to create a service and open it up also. So I hope you have all created your service and it has loaded up. I'll just give it a few more seconds in case you're taking some time to load the service. So I'll just wait for a few more minutes. And once you're done, do write one in the chat, and I'll once I'll receive once, I'll start proceeding ahead to the next step. So I haven't seen any ones yet. So I'll just wait for a few more minutes, and then we can proceed ahead. So I do know. Okay. So I think we can proceed ahead. So now over here you'll see a list, an option to create projects. You can take a guided tutorial also, and we'll show you how to create a service. So firstly, we need to create a project. This is the workspace within Watson Studio where we'll be working with. So you can either click on create a project link over here on the top, or you can access your projects from the quick navigation, and you can click on projects and you can go. So if you have any existing project, you can see all the projects listed over here. And you can also access projects from the navigation menu, and you can see view all projects, and you can see the list of projects you have created, and you can go ahead. And once yeah, so once you're done creating a project, once you're done coming to the list of projects here, you can click on the new project option. And once you come over here on this page, you can either click on this option to create an empty project, or you can create a project from a sample file. So the option you'll be selecting is we'll create an empty project. We'll start from scratch. And I'll just click on an empty project. And we can just give it a name like credit risk. You can give any name you like. You can give that name, and you can click on project description. And you can also collaborate with other people using this project. So you can go ahead and you can click on that. Or if you want to collaborate with someone, and then last thing you need to do is you need to create an object storage service where your data would be stored. So for that, you need to create an object storage service. Mine, I've already created one, so it's linked, but I'll show you how to create. So there'll be an option to add an object storage service over here. It'll be a hyperlink. And once you click on that, a page like this should open up. I'll just open up that page to show you how it looks. So you go object. Object storage. You can see object storage service here under catalog results. You click on that. And you'll have the same options like when you were creating a Watson Studio service. So you can select the light plan, and you can give a service your name. You can change the name, or you can keep it like this. and then once you're done, you can click on create. And once you click on create, you'll be redirected to this page. So we'd have to refresh, and the object storage service should be linked. And once you do that, this button, create button, should turn blue. So I'll wait for I'll just click on create, and then I'll wait for you guys also to put in two once you're done creating the object storage service and creating the project. So let me know. I'll just keep an eye on the chat section. So yeah, I'll show you how to upload the dataset. We'll go step by step, and I'll show you how to upload the dataset. For now, just let me know once you're done creating the service, and we shall proceed ahead then.
Mridul, can you just repeat, please, the step where you are uploading the data set to the project?
I haven't uploaded the dataset to the project. I'll show them in the next step.
Okay,
So
that's fine. All right. So
right now, I have only created the object storage service. So I'll show you how to upload a dataset to the project. I haven't gone to that step. So I'll show that once I'm done. Once I come to that step, and I'll wait for everyone to create the object storage service and the project.
all right, sounds great. Sorry about that. No worries.
Yeah, no worries. So I hope you have all created an object storage service. Do let us know in the chat, and we'll proceed ahead. So if you're done, do write 2 in the chat, and let me know you're done so that I can proceed ahead. So I'll just I hope you all created the service and you're done with the second step. So now I'm going to show you how to add the data set to the project, and it'll be uploaded to the object storage service also. It'll store all the data there. So this is the Watson Studio project. Over here, you have the overview, the date, the description. You can see the object storage service created and how much data is it using, how much data is being used. You can see the collaborators. You can see the recent activity, and then you have the README document with the markdown cheat sheet. So you can go ahead and document your entire project. And this really helps when you're collaborating with multiple people, and they can all access and understand what the project is about and what steps are being done and what the objective of the project is. And once you're familiar with this, you can go ahead and click on assets. Now this is where we're going to be creating a modeler flow, and you're going to add the data set and everything. So to add a data set, you can see the 0100 icon over here. It says find and add data. When you hover over it, you can see the message. And you can click on browse over here, under data, under load. Once you click on that, I'll just show you how. So how it appears. When you click on that, you see the load option, and then under that there's a browse option. So you click on this hyperlink, and from here you go to the place where you have downloaded the GitHub repository which I've shown you for this session, and you can select the CSV file, and you can select the CSV file and you upload it, and we'll wait for it to upload. And once you are done with uploading the dataset, please write 3 in the chat, and I'll proceed ahead. So the GitHub link is IBM. It's over here. I'll just show it to you. It's ibm.biz/SPSS Modeler. So I'll paste it in the chat also. So you can also click on the workshop resources, the green icon. Khalil has shown in the Crowdcast housekeeping. So you can also click on that workshop resources, and you can access the GitHub repository. And you can access the repository from there, or you can go to this link. And I'll just show you the GitHub repository also. So once you go to the GitHub repository, the data set is available. The CSV file is available over here. So you'll have to install the whole repository. So you can go ahead and you can click on this green icon. You can either download it using the terminal, or you can open it with GitHub desktop, or you can download the zip. So you can access. Then you'll be able to access the data set. So it's a CSV file. So okay, I'm not sure why you're facing that issue. The link, okay, I'll just share this link also, the long link. So I've shared the actual long link also, the GitHub repository link. And you can access the repository now. I hope you can. And you'll have to install the dataset, and you can upload the dataset over here. Yes, you can also click on the green icon on the screen, that is workshop resources, and you can access the GitHub repository from there too. It has all the resources, so you can click over there, workshop resources, and you can access the GitHub repository. So I hope by now everyone has uploaded dataset to the project, and we will proceed to the next step now. So we're going to be creating an SPSS modeler flow, and in which we'll be building machine learning models using this data set. And we're going to try to get some, try to predict something. So you can click on Add to Project over here on the top again, and you can click on Modeler Flow. So once you click on Modeler Flow, you'll be able to install. You'll be able to create a modeler flow, and you can give it a name. So let's give it credit risk prediction. That's the name of our flow. We'll give it that, and you can write a description. And the environment could be default SPSS Modeler S, 2 CPU and 8 GB RAM. That is sufficient. So you can go ahead and you can do that. You can also upload an existing modeler flow. So you can go ahead and you can browse and you can upload. So in the repository, you'll find a repository. You'll find a modeler flow already. The extension is .str. So you can access and you can upload this file. But we'll be creating a modeler flow from scratch, so that we understand how to build one. But you can also access the modeler flow from there in case you're facing issues. But I would recommend building it along with me, so that you're able to understand how to build a modeler flow, and it clarifies all your doubts. So you can So you can once you're done, you can click on create, and this will take a few seconds and create the modular flow. And once you're done with this, just write down 4 in the chat, and we'll proceed ahead. So that I know you're all on the same step. And if you have any queries or any issues, any blockers, do let me know in the chat, and I'll try to answer them right now. So if you have any queries, do let us know in the chat, and we'll try to answer them right now. And if you're able to create the modular flow, just write four in the chat, and we'll proceed once the modular flow is ready, and we can proceed ahead. So do let me know in the chat. So there's a question, how we can make the data set continuous for the model to get trained on stream of data. So right now, the use case we have for a static data, we have the data set already. There is no new incoming data, and we're going to be doing that. But there are other services which recall the real-time data, and you're able to build models and you're able to predict. So we do right now we're not doing that. So that's not our focus. We're not trying to focus on that. We do have some other sessions which will focus on real-time data processing. So I hope that helps clarifies it. So I hope by now you have all created a modular flow. Do write 4 in the chat if you're done once, and we'll proceed ahead. Yeah, it takes a few seconds to create. So it does take time. As you can see, even for me, it took a bit of time to create the flow. So we'll just give it a few seconds, and I'll wait for a minute or two so that we're all on the same page, and we can all go ahead and start building the flow. So once you're done, do let me know in the chat, and we can proceed ahead once you're done. So I hope by now everyone has created, is able to access the modular flow, and the modular flow is ready to be create machine learning models. Do let me know in the chat if you're stuck, if you want me to repeat any step. So I'll proceed ahead, and I'll start creating the modular flow. So now the first thing is we understood a lot of different nodes which Subisiso went through, and we're going to be using some of them to create a modular flow. Now, how do we access these nodes? So these are all available in this palette over here, and we can go ahead and we can access them. So you can if you know the particular node you require, you can go ahead and you can search for that. So let's say we want to attach a data asset. So we can also access it like this. Or if you're not sure, we can go to the import section and we can look for what we need to import. So let's say data asset, that is one. So we can go ahead and we can drag and drop it over here. And once I drag and drop it over here, you can see the data asset, and you can see the 3 dots over here. So you can click on the 3 dots, and you can click on open. and you click on data asset over here, and you click on the German underscore graded underscore data.csv, and we are going to select. So this is how we upload our data asset to the modeler flow, and you can click on save. So once you're done with the step, do let me know in the chat and you're able to access the notes. If not, I'll show it once more. Let me know if you're not able to follow along. So I hope you are all able to understand and follow along. So it's under the import section. You can go on data asset and you can drag and drop it over here. If not, you can just go ahead and you can search for data asset on the top in the find palette node. And you can also find the data asset, the first one under it should mention import, and you can drag and drop it over here. So you'll able, yes. So I've received one yes. So you have created and saved the data set. And once you're done, so we'll proceed to the next step. Now we want to gain some insight into our data. And how do we do this? So what we could do is we can go to the output section and we can look for data audit, and we can drag and drop it over here. And we want to get some insight into data. So we connect this node to this node. And we can see the name has changed. It has 21 fields. And we can click on open. Firstly, we need to click on run. Actually, we need to go ahead and we can click on run. Now, once we are done with that, we can close this message which comes here, and then we have the data, the output over here. So once we click on that, we can see the output. So you can see all the fields. So you can inspect all your you can inspect all your fields, and you can see the measurement type, whether it's categorical, whether it's continuous. You can see all that. You can see the minimum value, the maximum value, the mean value. So you can go ahead and you can check that out. And you can see all the output over here. So you can see all the fields, and you can see all if there are any outliers also in your data set, the extremes, and you can see all that over here. And once you're done, you can close, and you can always access this over here. You can see outputs and models, and you can see the results which you have generated, and you can click on that and you can see all that over here. And once you're done with that, do let me know in the chat if you're able to view this. If not, I'll repeat the step. Just to reiterate, you can go under outputs and you can look for data audit, and you can drag and drop it on the palette, and you can connect them. You just need to go on this blue arrow and you drag and connect to the node. And once it connects, it'll change the name of the node and it becomes 21 fields. And once you're done with that, you can click on the three dots and you can click on run. And once this runs, you can see the output. It shows over here. Or if not, once it's done, you'll receive a message. So you can go under outputs and models on right hand side. You can click on that and you can see the results on the results. So once you're done, do let me know in the chat. I hope you're all done by now and you were able to follow along, and I'll proceed to the next step. Yes, you'll have to store the file on laptop once, and then you'll have to upload it onto your Watson Studio project. So when we created a Watson Studio project, you'll have to upload the data set over there, and once we come to the you create a modeler flow. You click go under import. You bring the data asset node, and you attach the CSV file from the project to the data asset node, and it changes its name uh, from data asset to German underscore create underscore data.csv. So once you're done, so the next step is we want to do some field operations. So how we can do this? So we're going to connect the data. So we're going to go under field operations, and we're going to bring the type node over here, and we are going to connect this data asset to this node, and we're going to we're going to click on this, and we're going to click on open, and you can see the fields over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to edit the risk, which is what we're trying to predict, to target. So everything else becomes the input, and this becomes the target. And once you make it a target, you can click on save. So I'll just repeat again this step. So just remove this thing, and just remove this node, and repeat again. You go under field operations, you find the type node, and you bring it to the palette, and you connect the data asset node to type node, and you click on the three dots of the type node, and you click on open. And once you're done with that, you go to you see all the fields, all the fields over here. You go to the bottom, and you select the input, the under the role, you select the risk field, you change it to target. And once you do that, you can click on save. And once uh, once you're done, this should take in the it should it should select that, and this data. Now this makes it ready for the data to go into the model. So you can click on done. So it will not generate any. I don't think it'll generate any. It won't generate any output, because this is not an output node. It's an input to another node. So just a field operation. So once you're done with that, do let me know in the chat. I'll wait for you, and then create a first. We'll create a model. We'll put a input and machine learning model node. Yes, we changed the risk to target. So I'll just show it once again. You bring the type node from field operations. You can click on the three dots, and you click on open, and you click on settings, and under settings you have the type operations, and under type operations you scroll to the bottom, and you see the risk field, and you change it to target, because this is what we're trying to predict. We're trying to predict the risk for each customer. So and once you're done with that, you change to target, you click on save. And what? So I hope you're all done, and you can just write down in the chat if you're done with the step. Just let me know so that I can proceed ahead. Or if you want me to repeat, if you have any queries, do let me know. Yes, target field is this field we are trying to predict based on the other fields. So it has to change. We have to select one target field. So that is what you're trying to predict. So now we're going to train our ML model. So for this, we'll go under the modeling section, and the model we're going to work with is random forest. So we're going to just implement a it's a tree model algorithm, and we're going to implement this for our data set today. So we're going to drag and drop it on the palette over here, and we are going to connect the node to the type node to this model node, and you see it changes the name to risk because it's trying to predict the risk. So the node understands what we're trying to predict, and then once we are done with this, we click on the three dots and we click on run, and we wait for it to run. So this will take a few seconds. So you just have to wait for the result to generate. So let's give it a few minutes. And by then, if you have any doubts, do let me know in the chat. So I'll just delete the node. 1 second. And we go and we click on run.
Hey, Mridul, meanwhile, while it's still loading, we have Peter here. He's facing an error. I'm not sure if this is something to do with the data or he needs to refresh. I'm not sure if you can just check it out.
Yeah, I'm just having a look. I'm trying to understand that.
Oh, okay. Sorry. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, it connects to the type, and you click on run. So I'm not sure, it's taking a bit of time. So I'm just trying to understand your issue. So Peter, what we could do is we can try deleting the node once and try inputting the node again, and then you could try to. So I hope you have changed the risk attribute to target field. It's not the input field; it's the target field. Okay. So this flow is taking a bit of time. So I'm not sure what happened. So I have. So yeah. So once you're done, you should have and feel like this. So I'll just delete this and I'll show you how to build. So once it's done, you should have a node which generates like this. So we can click on type again. I'll just explain. And once you go over here, you scroll to the bottom, you select it as target, and you click on save. And then once you do that, you have the output generated over here. So you can see the model. You can click and view the model over here. Once that a golden nugget, it generates below the risk model once you're done. And you can see the model accuracy and the model evaluation. So that modeler flow is taking a bit of time. So this is how the output looks like once you do that. So you can see the positive rate and the positive false rate, the weighted precision, and you can do that. So once you run the model and it completes, this node will generate on its own, and you can see a dotted line. So it will connect this on its own. So you can go ahead and you can view the results, and you can click or three dots and you can click on view model, and you will see the output. So let me know if you are all able to generate the golden agent and you're able to get the model, machine learning model in the chat. So the output should generate like this. Still getting the error. Uh, so can you try running the entire flow again? So even I'm having issues here, so we'll just try solving it now. So yeah, you can try refreshing it once. So we have the German grade. Yeah, you could click on refresh and then try running the flow again, and that should help.
If for some issue the error is still occurring, maybe that you have mistyped something or misclicked something while adding the nodes. So Moodle has already uploaded the flow in the repository, so you can simply just import it, and you'll have all the flow there, and you can run it, and hopefully it should work, just in case.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Khalil. So yeah, as Khalil mentioned, the flow is there in the GitHub repository. It's the .str file. So once you download the repository, it should be there in the folder. And while you're creating the flow, you can upload the file over there. So you can also access that, and you can check if there were some issues, and you can see if if you missed something. So you can use the same flow and you can run it again. So moving ahead, once you're done with this, we have the model. We need to analyze this model. We want to evaluate the results. So what we can do is we can go to the outputs section, and we can select the analysis node, and we can select the analysis node, and we can put it over here on the palette, and we can the results we generate from model, we can analyze this use to and we can connect it to this, and we can click on run, and then it should run the flow, and we should see the results. So once you connect the node, you should have the results. I'm just refreshing my flow, and yeah, and you can click on run once you refresh your flow, and you can click on run. And it should generate the results. So it's just taking a bit of time. So we'll just wait for a few seconds. So give it a few seconds. It might take time. If you're done, do let us know in the chat. that you have generated the results, and you can see the results. Yeah. So we see the results over here. See the run was successful, and we can see the analysis. See over here, you can go ahead and you can go ahead and view it. You can click on analysis, and you can see the results comparing risk. So you can see the correct and the wrongs and the total, and you can see the percentage also over here, and you can analyze. So now we want to do some more analysis. So what we could do is we can go ahead and we can go to graphs. So under the graphs, we can go and we can go to evaluation. So you want to evaluate our results. So we can go ahead and we can place this over here, and we can connect this node over here, and it changes to, you can see that it changes the name, and you can click on run. And once it's done, you can see the output over here. So you can go ahead and you can click on this evaluation, and you can see the graph. So this is the output, and you can see the percentile, percentage gain, how it was working, how was the model working, and how is the model functioned. So you can evaluate the results, and you can see all the outputs. Once you run it, you can see all the outputs over here. So you can, whatever the model outputs you generated from the model, you can access it under from this section, outputs and models, and you can see that all the results over here. And once you're done, do let us know in the chat if you have any questions, because this is the end of the hands-on session. So let us know if you have any if you have any queries, so we can just clarify it right now. So we can give it a few minutes, and then we can conclude the session. So as I see no queries in the, so this is a random forest model. Yeah, Peter, it will take some time. I think it's taking some time, so it'll take some time to run. So the results are here. Results are as generated as I've shown. And if you want to access the results later, also you can go to the GitHub repository, and we have documented all the results over here. So if you scroll to the bottom, all the steps are over here, and you can see the results. So you can see the results over here. So you can compare the results from here, and you can see how to build. So I have, as you can see on my screen, all the results are over here. So you can go and compare. So it might take a bit of a time. So yeah. So as I see, there are no other queries. Yeah, Srini, it's a random forest model. So it can be used for both, yeah, regression and classification. So to clean the data, we have a data refinery tool, which is a separate asset. You can use that, and you can go ahead and clean your data using that, and you can remove and clear all the unwanted records, like you mentioned, 200 OK. So you can go ahead and do that. And the main purpose to run this model was just to show you how easy it is to build a machine learning model, how it's able to build the machine learning process using modeler flow. So this was one of the models we selected. So you can go ahead and you can try out different models. Because for the interest of time, we just wanted to show, the main purpose was to show you how to use modeler flow and build machine learning models, not which model should be used. So if you want to try, you can try different models. So under the modeling section, you have various models over here. So you can go ahead, you can drag and drop, and you can replace that, and you can run and you can compare the various results, which you think is best suits the data set or which best gives the results. You can use that model ahead. So there are various models over here, as you can see the list. So it is not possible for us to run all the models over here and show you which model is the best. This is just to show you how to build, your machine learning flow using modular flow.
I just want to add here, just like Riddle said, yes, and there is one node. Riddle, if you scroll up a bit, if you can scroll up.
Yeah, sure. Let me know when to stop.
Yeah, keep scrolling. Yeah, okay, here, stop. So if you see the auto classifier one, basically that's the one that will kind of do the job for you. So the auto classifier is the only node here that is going to take a bunch of all different models, and it's going to see what's the best one for you. Or sometimes it will combine different models together to come up with a model that has enough accuracy and a performance for your data set. So this is something that you can try it as well. It's very useful. That can that helps you to win time by trying different models or ensembling models together. Yeah, back to you, Mridul. I'm not
Yeah,
sure if you're talking. Yeah, okay, back
yeah,
to
yeah.
you.
I was just waiting for you to go. Yeah, thank you so much, Khalil. So the modular flow is like this. So you see, it's a very simple modular flow, and we were able to build a machine learning model just using dragging and dropping. And it was very simple, and we were able to evaluate the results also, not just make a model, but we were able to evaluate the results also using the various nodes. So the purpose was to show you how it's easy to build your whole machine learning process using modular flow just with drag and drop. You do not require any coding experience, so you just need to understand the objective of the project. You need to have the data set, and you can make the whole flow, and you can create your own machine learning projects using modular flow. So to conclude this session, I will say so. This tutorial, demonstrated a small example of creating a predictive machine learning model on SPSS Modeler on Watson Studio. So we went over importing the data into the project and the modeler flow and preparing the data for modeling. Then over the steps for choosing an appropriate algorithm for the data and trying to train a prediction model. And the last step was to visualize and evaluate the results of the trained model. So this was the object. This is to summarize the entire session, today's session, and this is what we did and what we achieved. And these are some useful links. You can go ahead and you can access these links if you're interested in learning more. So the first link is the IBM Cloud link. So you can use this account for up to 30 days. So you can do sign up using this link and create your account, and you get a free access to IBM Cloud for 30 days using this link. The next is the hands-on lab. So if you're not able to follow up or if you want the steps, as I mentioned, the GitHub, this is the link to the GitHub repository. It is case sensitive, so make sure you this links will be shared in the chat. And even if you're taking a note of it, make sure to keep the case as the same as on the screen, and you're able to access the repository and the links. And all the steps are listed over there for today's session, so you can go ahead and you can access that. Then we have some content on developer.ibm.com related to SPSS modeler flow and machine learning, which you can go ahead and try out if you're interested in learning more about machine learning. And this is the meetup link. So you can see our upcoming sessions. You can go ahead and you can register yourself for the sessions and you can learn more. So some of you asked a question about how to clean the data. So we had a session for data refinery 2 weeks ago. And then some other questions you had. So sessions related to that are all listed over there. So you can go ahead and you can check out those sessions over there and you can register yourself. And these are contact details. So if you have any queries after the end of the session also, so you can go ahead and you can reach out to us. So Khalid will paste this in the chat and you can go ahead and you can reach out to us and you can ask us any queries and we'll be glad to help you out. And then on the right hand side we have the survey link which you can also access using this QR code with your mobile phone cameras. So you can scan the QR code and fill a very short survey, and this will help us understand how we did in this session and how we can improve in future and what changes we could make and what topics we could focus on which are of more interest to you. So I hope you have taken a note of our contact details. It has also been shared in the chat, and you have also, gone and you're filling the survey form because this really helps us to understand how to improve and what we could focus on. So thank you, and that brings us to the end of the session. Stay safe, everyone.